Hello, and welcome to the Getting Ready for You webinar entitled What is Accessibility Resources? My name is Sarah Tregoning, and I'm the Student Accessibility and Success Advisor here at Augustana. You can check out our website at ualberta.ca/augustana/services/accessibility/students. I realize that's a long website address, but if you go that route, you'll be able to see everything. All the information is there, including what we're going to talk about today. So what is accessibility resources? Well, as the icons on the right of your screen may suggest, accessibility resources, or AR for short, promotes an accessible, inclusive, and universally designed environment on the Augustana campus. What that means is we provide services to prospective and current students whose disabilities include conditions affecting mobility, vision, hearing, learning, and physical or mental health. So this can include if you are a student who is deaf or hard of hearing, if you are blind or partially sighted, if you have a learning disability or attention deficit hyperactivity disorder, if you have psychiatric diagnoses, so that can include everything from anxiety disorders to mood disorders to autism spectrum disorder, that's all included. If you have a brain injury, including concussion, it's worth coming to register with accessibility resources. Or if you have mobility or functional limitations or chronic medical conditions. So for example, if you have a condition that decreases your immune function and you get sick more often, you may want to come register with accessibility resources. If you have chronic migraines or allergies or asthma that affect you regularly, again, it's worth registering to see what kind of accommodations and support you can receive. Those with documented disabilities are connected to the resources and support needed to help achieve your full academic potential. That is the purpose of accessibility resources. So what is the duty to accommodate policy? This is the university policy that governs how we provide supports and services. And again, this is the university's policy, but it falls under provincial human rights legislation. So the university policy can be found on our website. If once you get to accessibility, you click on who we are and then policies and guidelines, you'll see that the duty to accommodate policy requires reasonable accommodation. So it's not perfect accommodation, but what is reasonable? The point is to level the playing field and reduce the impact your disability has on your ability to complete your academic requirements. So for example, if you have a print disability and find it difficult to read, we might provide an audio format of your course materials so that it is just as accessible to you as it is to someone without that disability. It's a shared responsibility between you, the student, and the university. So AR coordinates service provision, but you, the student, still have to register, to meet deadlines, provide documentation. It does not imply that your standards are lowered for students with disabilities. Your degree is worth the same as everyone else's degree. You have to meet the same standards as everybody else. And it does not give an advantage to students with disabilities. So who is eligible for AR support? Augustana students who have documentation of a permanent disability completed by a qualified medical professional. Qualified medical professional includes a physician, a psychiatrist, or a psychologist. That's it. It could be a specialist, so an audiologist, but only those qualified as medical professionals. The documentation, as I said, it has to be of a permanent condition. We may begin serving students who are in the process of getting a diagnosis or documentation, but that service is just temporary. If you do not provide documentation or don't end up getting a disability diagnosed, you will be referred for services elsewhere. So who is not eligible? Well, students with temporary or acute illnesses or injuries. So let's say you've just had surgery on your hand is in a sling or a cast. We are still obligated to assist you if you have a temporary disability and provide accommodation, but that is not available through accessibility resources. And you can find information if you look on the accessibility website, look under the eligibility terms and look at temporary illness. Also, students who self-diagnose with a disorder are not eligible. So if you say, oh, actually I have exam anxiety. Exam anxiety is normal and healthy to a certain point, but it is not a diagnosis of a permanent disability. So I can refer you for supports elsewhere, but until you have a diagnosis of an anxiety disorder, you will not be eligible for AR support. So that explains what is accessibility resources. If you are interested in other webinars, we do have several available. So we're going to look at, after what is accessibility resources, we look at how to register with accessibility resources, what accommodations are available, how to use Clockwork, which is the system we use to administer accommodations, and how to apply for grant funding. So I hope you've enjoyed this webinar and found it helpful, and feel free to check out the others if you would like more information.